Welcome to SleepyCove ASMR. Today we're gonna be doing some fishing and maybe some exploring as well in Nier Automata. So I wake up in the morning and it's time to go fishing. So this is Nier Automata. I absolutely love this game. The main character here that I'm playing as is Tubi, and she's a robot. And then her little friend in the back here is 9S. And he is also a robot. And so, this game was a really big part of 2020 for me. I played it for the first time on Game Pass on the Xbox One. And I absolutely loved it. I find it hard to pick a game as my favorite, and sometimes it's even hard to make a list of favorite games because there's so many that I really enjoy. But this one is absolutely one of my favorite games. The story is wonderful. The gameplay is so varied and
Proposal.
I guess I'd say unique, I don't know. I don't know if I'd completely say the gameplay is unique. I'd say the combination of gameplay is. I'm playing this on the computer right now instead of on the Xbox, and it really doesn't look as good, I don't think. A lot of the sand and the textures seem a little bit off. But maybe it's just because it's been such a long time since I've played it. I think that this game is possibly the only game I've ever gotten all the achievements on. Because I just became completely obsessed with it when I started playing it. And I almost got absolutely everything completed in the game as well. The only thing I wasn't able to finish was the DLC Colosseums. I was able to finish, because there's a few of them. I was able to finish the one in the desert, if I'm not mistaken. But the rest of them, I would have kept going until I could finish, but I kind of decided that it wasn't really worth it for what you'd unlock. I was hoping for some cooler unlocks, but it didn't really seem like it was worth it, so I kind of gave it gave it a pass. Maybe I'll go back eventually, but they're so hard. Which I don't mind completely. I think that one thing that kind of disappointed me about this game is how absolutely brutal it started out, at least I thought.
Commencing fishing.
And then it kind of got to the point where it's maybe a bit too easy. Because you can upgrade so much. But still, it's a really wonderful game. It looks like we got ourselves what kind of fish? We got a carp machine. The carp machine fish. Carp machine fish. It's funny because the fishing was one of the more monotonous aspects to this game, I thought, when I was playing through it. And that was part of trying to complete 100% of the game as well. I wanted to get all of the fish for my what is that, the encyclopedia in the game? I don't really remember, because you can get the data on various types of machines and different types of fish. And I'm gonna recast this one. And what's it called? So I had to catch all of the fish in order to completely 100% the encyclopedia entries. And some of the fish... Oh, what's this? Unknown. That was an oil sardine. An oil sardine. But anyway, so some of the fish are very, very hard to catch, and the probability of catching them is very, very low. And as far as I could tell, there isn't really a way to increase your odds, which is kind of rough. Oh, we got another card machine. I'm gonna continue that. I just want to check if there's a way to... Yeah, see, the fishing encyclopedia. But on my save on the Xbox, this is all 100%. Okay, controls. I don't really like that. It keeps bouncing back and forth between the computer controls and my Xbox controller. I'm finding it a bit distracting, but maybe it doesn't matter too much. See, we can go to our caught fish too and look, but I think we're gonna have better luck catching the rest of them now. The graphics are still bothering me a bit. What's this? No, I don't want that. Oh, this looks a lot better, I think. I wonder if I can go 16 on the graphics or on the textures. I think. Okay, I like this a lot better.
Commencing.
I think the graphics were kind of a bit annoying to start with. I'm going to turn down this audio. I still find it very distracting. Okay. So, as I was saying before I went and messed around in the settings a bit, is that catching all of the different types of fish can be a bit of a pain. But I was determined to complete everything in this game other than the Colosseums, like I said. And I gave those a pretty good try, I feel. So this is kind of a interesting, oily kind of place where you can catch all sorts of different kinds of fish. And hopefully, despite the fishing being a little bit monotonous in the past, hopefully it's nice and relaxing for you to come and spend some time with me as we try to catch some fish. I think that the way that Tubi kind of sits here on this, there's kind of a, you can't see it too well. There's kind of like a hologram seat. And she just kind of sits there while fishing, and I think it's really cool. She seems as cool as a cucumber. And I don't think I'm gonna catch a fish with that line, so maybe we can try. Yeah, I can go on this rock here.
Commencing.
Let's try fish from over here. I think there's something really nice and peaceful about being able to just spend some time in a game where you're not really trying to do anything. Oh no. I missed that fish. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing that always kind of disappoints me in games.
Success.
What do we have this time? The mackerel machine. But yeah, I remember when I gave Cyberpunk 2077 a try. I was very excited for that game, like a lot of people were. And I gave it a try, and
Report. Unknown object.
the city was, it's kind of a beautiful city, but there's not really anything you can do where you can just feel like you're hanging out in it. And I feel like a lot of games don't really have that aspect where you can just kind of go and maybe sit around for a while and talk with some people. Or maybe just
Unknown object.
relax on your own and do some fishing. Maybe more games just need to allow you to fish. I think that would be nice. But kind of, in general,
Detected.
a lot of... Oh, we got ourselves a blowfish. A blowfish. A blowfish machine. I feel like a lot of games, like RPGs at least, they want you to play as the character that the people who made the game created. Whereas, for me, generally, when I'm playing an RPG, I like to be able to make my own character, and I like to be able to steal stuff. And I feel if you're not able to break into houses in a game, and you're not allowed to break into some locked chests or safes and steal some goodies, I often am not gonna like the game as much as games where you can't do that. And so I think good examples would be, and there's a lot of mixed opinions, but I do really like Bethesda RPG games. I think there's people love those games. Obviously, they're very big, but they also hate those games. And I feel like Morrowind, Fallout 3, and Skyrim are all pretty good games. I played a lot of Morrowind when I was growing up. That was the first game of that kind that I ever played, and it absolutely blew my mind. I never even played any of the main quest, and I hardly played any of the side quests either. And I put a lot of time into that game, and a lot of time swapping stories with my brothers and my cousins about all the kinds of mischief we got into and all the interesting places that we were able to explore. And then, when Oblivion came out, I was so excited. We had a friend come over and he brought his Xbox 360 and Oblivion, because we didn't have a 360 yet. And so we played through the opening, and I believe he lent us his console and his game
Report. Unknown object.
for maybe about a week or something
Complete.
like that. And it was really, really nice. And I feel like that's something that would happen quite a bit back then. Because we had
Commencing.
the Super Nintendo, That's all we had for a while. And we didn't even have that many games on it. We had Super Mario Brothers. And we had NBA Jam. And we had SimCity. And what else? If we had anything else. I guess we did have
Bite detected.
Donkey Kong. I'm trying to remember. Because I know we had the first Donkey Kong Country. And then we had the second and the third. I'm just trying to remember when we got those, though. Because I feel like Donkey Kong Country was given to us by our cousins. And I think that we spent most of our time.
Catch confirmed.
I'm having a very hard time remembering how that worked, because I know we played Donkey Kong Country when I was really, really little, which would have been before we moved to the small town I grew up in, which would have been before I did any grade school, and we played Donkey Kong Country. And I don't know if that was ours, or if maybe one of my brother's friends brought it over for us to play. I think that's probably what happened. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, so we had for sure Super Mario World, NBA Jam, and SimCity. And I know we rented the Duck Dodgers game once as well, and that was before we moved as well.
Report. Unknown object.
But then most of the renting came when the N64 came out, because I'm pretty sure we got it after, around the time that, what's this guy? The starfish. It's the Patrick Star. So we got a starfish machine and we caught him. Anyway, so what was I talking about before? So we got the N64. When around the time that Donkey Kong 64 came out. And I was always under the impression that that's when the N64 came out, but it turns out
Catch confirmed.
we were a little late to the party, at least if I'm remembering correctly. And so we had the Super Nintendo, and then I remember the first time playing the N64. We were on vacation,
Bite detected.
because me and my family used to go on these, like, vacations for religious reasons, growing up, which we no longer do, because none of us really go to church anymore. But we used to go, and sometimes we'd go with
Success.
our cousins, and it was always so much fun. And we'd hang out and we'd get into trouble in the hotel, running around and swimming and, just messing around. And anyway, so they invited us over to their hotel room, and they had the N64. And they had Donkey Kong 64. And I think, am I remembering this correctly? my memories between playing it for the first time in the hotel room and playing it for the first time in my grandma and grandpa's basement. I feel like maybe now that I'm thinking about it a bit more, they had one of the Cruisin' games. So there was Cruisin' Exotica, Cruisin' World, and Cruisin' USA. And they had one of those, and I think maybe that was the first games we played for the N64. I'm not entirely sure, because I have a distinct memory, at least I think, of being in my grandparents' basement, and we were there with my cousins, and they had Donkey Kong 64, and they had multiple controllers, and we decided to play the multiplayer mode. And I do know how I felt playing it, and
Success.
I do remember what level as well. We're going to cast out another fishing line, and then I'm going to look up what this level was called in Donkey Kong. I'm just on my phone, so don't mind me. Donkey Kong 64 multiplayer levels. Because I remember which level it was. It looks like we've got a fish, though. Oh, we missed him.
Failed.
Okay. Let's see. There's gotta be a...
Report. Failed.
I'm too distracted by all this Donkey Kong. Maybe in the fandom.com. Ah, this is so good. So it's Donkey Kong 64 is a game for the Nintendo 64, where the player can play as 5 Kongs: Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Lanky Kong, Tiny Kong, and then Chunky Kong. And then, so the gameplay, there's a single player adventure mode and a multiplayer monkey smash mode that are available. This game was so good. I think maybe if I went back and played it, I wouldn't like it as much. I'm not sure. Because I hear a lot of people actually didn't like this game when it came out. And I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite. This is really weird. I can't find what the levels are called. I wonder if they even have names or what. I'm gonna watch a video. I'm sorry to take away from the fishing so much. I hope that you don't mind listening to me just ramble and get distracted by Donkey Kong. Oh man, this game's so good. So, Arena 1, or are they just called? That's so weird. So I'm watching a video, and it appears let's see. Kong Battle. Monkey Smash. Oh. So I'm kind of remembering now. I don't think that the levels have names actually, which is really funny. They're called like Arena 1, Arena 2, something like that. And it shows you like a blueprint of the map, and that's, I guess, why I can't remember what this
Garbage.
what this level was called.
Complete.
And that's very, very funny to me that it doesn't actually have a name in here. I thought that it would have. But if I can possibly explain it, what level it was. So, if I'm remembering correctly, there's a walkway that's above the map, and then what? There's a walkway above the map, and there's like a moat of like a moat or like a river of water that goes all the way around the map, and that was, I'm fairly certain, the first level that I played of Donkey Kong 64. That was my first experience with that game. And to get back to the story I was trying to tell, is that I remember playing it and being amazed by the graphics and being confused by them. Because up until that point, of course, with only really playing Super Nintendo games, playing something that was 3D was just bizarre, and it looked so real, and I remember as well being confused whether or not my character was right side up or upside down. And I'm not entirely sure how I got confused like that. I think it kind of had to do with those walkways that were up above the level that were going around that I was talking about. And I don't know, I like the perspective of it was just so confusing. And so that was my experience with Donkey Kong 64 when I played it for the first time. And now, here with Nier Automata, like I said, it's been a while since I've played this game, but it appears that I still know how to find all the good fishing spots. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the game. And I'm going to go for a quick smoke. So I'll be right back. Okay. So, this is my favorite fishing spot. That was a nice break. It's actually raining outside tonight, which I think has been
Commencing fishing.
much needed. There we go. I think that
No response.
the rain has been a long time coming. We've still got a lot of smoke over here. Not quite as bad as some of the places nearby. And so I'm just nice and cozy inside tonight, doing some fishing in this beautiful, beautiful hidden fishing spot. And I've got my coffee with me, like always. One thing that I am not enjoying about the rain, and it's not really the rain itself, is that I don't know where my toque went. I was trying to remember where I could have put it and what day I wore it last. And I want to say the last time I wore it was on Friday, and I am recording this on Monday night, and so that's just a couple days ago, and I can't find it anywhere. I've been going through my bag and looking around by the door, and I think I may have lost it. And so I'm going to have to possibly buy another one tomorrow, because I think it's supposed to be pretty chilly. But I do have my sweater, but I don't have a hoodie. Speaking of my sweater, I am going to take it off right now because it is pretty warm inside. So give me 1 minute. Okay, that's a lot better. I feel a lot better now without that on. A lot less toasty.
Complete.
So we got the killifish. The killifish obtained. I think before we do any more fishing, I'd like to come over and see who this character is. She's a Yora soldier, much like me and 9S. She says hello, and that's all she says. A flock of birds came to rest their wings here. I wonder if they instinctively knew how to escape the storm. I'd like to think so. It seems like time moves more slowly here. I think I can agree with that. And I think maybe you can too. If you've got nothing to do, why don't you try fishing? Everyone loves settling down for a round by the pond. Well, it turns out that's actually why we're here. And that thing that she said about the flock of birds knowing instinctively where to go reminds me of
Commencing fishing.
that Flaming Lips song, which is, let me just double check the name so that I don't give you bad intel. Okay, so that bit about the birds reminds me of the song My Cosmic Autumn Rebellion by the Flaming Lips, which is one of the most beautiful songs
Report.
that I think I've heard. It makes me quite emotional. I'll be listening to it on the bus, or sometimes maybe on the walk home, or even when I am home. And I think now I'd like to listen to it again after I finish recording tonight, because it is absolutely wonderful. And we just got a carp. But one of my friends showed me the Flaming Lips. I guess it would have been a few years ago now. I don't even really remember when.
Fresh.
Possibly when I first moved back to this city, and we were first becoming friends while working the stock shifts. I think that sounds about right. And now they are one of my favorite bands. And I cannot say enough good things about them. And I'm fairly certain that me gushing about them isn't gonna change much, because I'm pretty sure everybody has already heard about them long before
Lost.
I ever got around to them.
Complete.
And perhaps I was just a little
Commencing fishing.
late to the party. But that's okay. I think that sometimes you find out about things maybe a little later than you would have liked, or maybe you find out about them a little bit later
Success.
than everybody else. Oh, and we got another type of carp. A koi carp, I believe. But
Commencing fishing.
I think what's important isn't when you find out about something, and it's not necessarily how, but it's that you do. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. I think that you can go on YouTube and you can look up one of your favorite songs, and I think that quite often you will go into the comment section, and there will be people saying, "Oh, I heard this from the trailer of such and such a movie," or "I heard this in that TV show." And then you'll have the other group of people who will say, "Yeah, well, give me a thumbs up if you knew about this band before it became popular or before it was put in that TV show. And I don't think it really matters if you knew about it before or if you found out about it because you like a show that one of their songs appeared in. I think that we should be able to just be able to appreciate the fact that there are people out there that like the same music that we do, and that will sing the same songs that we like to sing. I think that, because I understand that kind of reaction, I still catch myself feeling that sometimes. And I think that I used to feel it a lot more when I was in high school. And because I felt that what I liked was special. And of course, it was special to me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be special to somebody else for maybe an entirely different reason. I think that's one of the wonderful things about us being people, is that we have really varied experiences, and at the end of the day, those experiences that vary can have a what's the word I'm looking for? They can have I suppose just some common ground within them as well. Which is to say, maybe I like my Cosmic Autumn Rebellion because one of my friends showed it to me, and because it reminds me of one of my other friends as well, who is kind of a bit of a bird friend. And so, songs about birds often make me think of them. And so perhaps I have my reasons that I like it. And then maybe you have your reasons for liking it as well. And maybe we can just appreciate that we both like this thing, this beautiful music, and we can focus on what we have in common. Not that focusing on what we have in common is the only thing that's important, and sometimes maybe it isn't important. But I think that, at the very least, a lot of the time where we share our human experience, I'd say that it is important that we can have these things that are important to us. And so I kind of lost my train of thought there, I think. But I guess what I'm saying is that sometimes I will be watching a TV show and I will hear a song come on that I really like, and maybe a part of me will feel like I'm special because because I knew what song it was before, and maybe a part of me would have liked to use that song in something that I create myself.
Light detected.
But at the end of the day, there's nothing saying that if I were to make something and I was able to use the music that I wanted, that I wouldn't be able to use that song anymore. And I think that at the end of the day as well,
Report. Fresh.
I will be watching a TV show or a movie, and I will discover new music to add to my collection and to sing in my head while I'm taking the bus or while I'm drifting off to sleep. And I think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I wouldn't want somebody to feel like they are better than me
Catch.
simply because they heard a song before I did. Even if I understand that feeling, it is not one that I like to indulge, I suppose. I will feel it, and then I will let it go. I will not go to YouTube to argue with people about the correct way to discover music, or the correct way to listen to it. And I'm starting to think that it's possible that I've been rambling about how we discover music, perhaps for a bit too long. But there is another aspect to it that I think is really cool, which is that, and I was thinking about this today at work actually. I was thinking about, I wish I could sit on this chair, but I can't. I can stand on it. But I was thinking about, and this is something that I think about a lot, which is that oh, it's so beautiful out here. I love this fishing spot. But what I was thinking about at work, and I was actually thinking about it specifically in regards to rambling during ASMR, I think maybe specifically for the Hotline Miami video that I'm planning on doing as well, where music and smells and lighting and photographs and what else, I suppose? Maybe something you drew when you were a kid, or something you forgot about that you find again. But specifically, I'd say music and smells and lighting and stuff like that. When they trigger memories, I find that how I relate to memory is like a large dresser, or like a shelf with lots and lots and lots and lots of drawers and little boxes inside. And when you open up one of the drawers and take out the box, and then you open the box and you look inside, I hope I'm explaining this alright, because it's not a real dresser or a shelf. But when you get that memory
Cache lost.
and you start kind of reliving it, and you're feeling it kind of so exactly, almost as if you're there again, it feels an awful lot like you're taking a box off the shelf or opening a drawer, and you're looking inside and looking at all the contents inside of it, and that's what makes up your memory, and that's just how it feels. And I'm not sure if that's how memory is generally experienced. Obviously, I'm gonna go ahead and say that there are obviously people who do experience it that way, because I don't think any kind of experience you have is going to be one that you have alone. If that makes sense. Like, I know that this wouldn't be something that only I have experienced. It couldn't be. I guess what I mean is this the general consensus of how you experience your memories? Or is this a way that not as many people experience? I'm not sure. I think that it's really interesting, and I sometimes bring it up when talking with people. And I'm not sure if I've had anyone say, oh yeah, exactly, that's how I experience it as well. Or if it's, I suppose it could be maybe a similar feeling, but maybe the way that they relate to it is maybe a little bit different as well. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. But I would be interested if you experience your memories as a box being taken off a shelf and opened, or something similar to that. If that's kind of the feeling that you get when you experience a very, very potent memory, almost like you're there, living it once more. I'd be interested to hear about that, so comment below if you relate to that, or maybe if you relate to your memories in a different way. I think that would be really fascinating to hear about as well. Because I don't know. I've never really looked it up. If that's,
Cache lost.
the normal way to experience it. And I don't want to say, because kind of like the music, talking about the music, and people can find music in different ways, and that's okay. To try to peel back on the, I suppose, the pretentiousness that can come along with music taste and film taste, which is certainly something that I used to have a lot more, I think, and I try to stay clear of that. And so I'd like to try and stay clear of that when talking about memories as well. And so I guess all I'm saying is that while I don't know if this is the common way to experience it or not, it's not to say that it's like something that I think highly of myself for. It's more just something that I find very, very interesting. And I'd be interested to hear how you experience it.
Success.
If it's the same, or if it's different. Just remember that
Success.
you've come here to hopefully relax and to hopefully get some tingles and maybe even to fall asleep. And I think that if you're watching this and you've been able to fall asleep to it, I think that that is absolutely wonderful. And I think that that is, that would be very flattering. And so, I don't think it matters too much what's being said. Hopefully, it's something that you find interesting regardless. Something to think about as you slip off into your beautiful, beautiful dreams where there's nice blue skies going on forever and fields upon fields of grass and yellow flowers. Maybe you don't have any shoes on,
No response.
and maybe you can feel the grass between your toes as you run and you roll down the hill and you become a balloon floating off into the sky. I once had this dream. I don't remember when. It would have had to have been during high school.
Bite detected.
Very strange. I think probably in grade 11 is when I had this, because I was getting into lucid dreaming, and I've only ever had a couple of those. I'd really like to have more and to maybe try to have them again, because there's all sorts of techniques that people use to get lucid dreams, but some people don't even need to try, and they can have a lucid dream every night, and I'm very jealous. But I think it was around that time because I was sleeping on the couch, and I'm not even sure why
Success.
I was sleeping on the couch. Because that would have been before we moved back to this city, I think. And I'd sleep on the couch and I'd have my alarm set to wake me up in the middle of the night, maybe around 3 or 4 in the morning, so that I could go straight back to sleep and try to re-enter my dreams. And I'm really unsure why I wasn't sleeping in my bed. Because I have slept on other couches. In this city, the last house I lived in before moving. I slept on the couch and then I moved across the country, which is something that I'm going to get a lot more into in my Hotline Miami video. I moved across the country and I slept on a couch there for maybe 2.5 years. And then I moved back here and I slept on a couch for another 4 or 5 years. And so, couches for about 7 years, give or take. But I've got a bed now, and it's nice and cozy. And it's actually my brother's old bed. He got a new one, and then he gave me this one. And I am very, very happy about that. So it's been maybe 1.5 years now of having a bed to sleep in. And it makes a world of difference. I was sore all the time. I couldn't sleep. Maybe I shouldn't talk about having difficulty sleeping. While there's a good possibility that you are trying to sleep right now, but just know that I am sleeping a lot better now than I was when I first moved here. And it seems to me that I've lost a bit of the plot when it comes to what I was trying to get at with my previous stories. And so, cast that reel into the pond. I'm kind of surprised at how many fish there are in this pond and how many I'm able to catch. And I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to catch all the fish in this pond. I don't think that would be very nice. I think that we want to leave some of the fish here to continue swimming around and maybe even hopping around. I don't know how many fish hop out of the water, but I'd like to think that there's at least a few in this pond that would, and that I'm going to leave them here. Because if I took all the fish, I wouldn't be able to come back here. And I think if I did come back here, it would maybe just make me sad. Because this is such a nice place. Such a nice place for a bunch of fish. And to spend the afternoon fishing.
No response.
And so I think that it's gonna be a good idea to leave some fish here. But I'm having a hard time getting any bites from this location, which makes me wonder if maybe I already did get all the fish, But I don't think so. I don't think that the fish actually... Sorry, I'm just yawning. It's not even that late tonight. It's only 11:43. But I'm already a little sleepy, which means that I'm gonna have a really good sleep tonight. But what I was saying is that I don't think that it actually does
Bite detected.
run out of fish in this game. And so I think that it's fine. There's actually some mods for this game to upgrade the textures. And I wonder how well that would run on my computer. I'm definitely not opposed to making more ASMR videos with this game because, like I said at the start, I'm a very big fan of this game, and I was tempted to get the mod for making 2B have a white dress. I thought that could kind of be kind of cool, but I decided that going with the classic black dress is probably a good way to start. I think it's probably the better one anyway, but I'm not entirely sure. But maybe if I make another video of this game, I'm not sure what else I could do in it other than fishing. I suppose I could make one where I go and find some of the intel pieces or something like that, or getting collectibles. Could maybe be fun. I'm not entirely sure, but I do like this game a lot, and I'd definitely be down to making another sleepy, tingly video for you to pass out to playing this game. I'd really like to also play Nier Replicant, which is the newer game, I think that, so it's a remake of the first Nier game, which I think was just called Nier. I could be wrong though. But I'd like to play that a lot, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much I'd like it, because 2B is my favorite, and I'm not sure how much I'd like to play as another character that's not as cool, but it is also very, very possible that I'm just being biased, and that when I actually do play that game, it'll turn out that the main character actually is really cool. And I shouldn't write it off just because I haven't played it, and just because it's different than this game. I think that the fact that this game is so good should tell me something about the other. That it's very, 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 very possible that it'll be right up my alley, because this game was as well. It got to the point where I put so much time into this game that the save file couldn't keep track of it anymore. So I think it goes up to 99 hours and 99 minutes and 99 seconds, I think, is how far it counts, and then it stops. And so I've put in much more time than that, which doesn't happen super often with games anymore, because I often don't have the time, or I'm just not that into it. I'll have a lot of fun playing it, but not just absolutely eating it up like I did with this one. I think with Disco Elysium, which is one of the last games that I put a lot of time into, I think that one I put in over 40 hours. But I could be wrong. I do need to go back and finish it still. I think I'm getting pretty close, and I really, really like the vibe of that game. And I like the music. I love the music in this game too. But Disco Elysium has this kind of very, very sad, kind of moody thing going for it. And there's been a few times playing it where I started feeling really, really down. And I think when a piece of media, it is, if it's a movie, or if it's a TV show, or if it's a video game, and it can make you feel something, whether that something is good or bad, I'd say that all in all is a good thing. And I've been wanting to find more movies that will make me feel things. Mostly, I'd like to find movies that would make me either feel sad or movies that would make me feel scared. But it does seem that it's hard to come by.
Detected.
And it could be because I have watched too many movies that my brain is a bit desensitized to having visceral, emotional experiences with them. But I also think that it's still possible, and I think it just needs to be really, really good for that to happen. I'm not sure. Yes, I do get emotionally invested in TV shows, and it's quite possible that the reason for that is because you spend so much more time with the characters and so much more time building the story where
Report complete.
it's kind of, what's it called? It builds up more what you feel for these characters and what you are expecting from the story. Whereas a lot of the time with a movie, you won't spend as much time with it and you won't get as invested simply because it's not quite as long and as intense of an experience as a lot of shows are. But with that being said, I won't say that it's impossible or that it doesn't happen. I think that one of the last movies that gave me a visceral, emotional reaction was The Vanishing, which is a really, really depressing movie. But it was also really, really good. And I'm not sure what other recent ones. I did watch Somewhere, which I think came out in 2011, the other day. And that one was pretty good. It had its moments. I like that it was just kind of a very, very lazy, easygoing movie that didn't really feel like it had any stakes.
No response.
And I think that they maybe tried to put some stakes in it at some point, but it was still in a very naturalistic sense for the most part, which is that the stakes weren't anything catastrophic, but more the frayed ends of familial relationships that can often crop up. And they crop up, and just sometimes these things happen, and either we can make them better or we can't. But hopefully, we will be able to move past it within ourselves, and hopefully anyone else that would have been involved in these kind of frayed, familial, or even interpersonal, if that's the right one, or maybe even romantic relationships, any kind of relationships. I think that interpersonal relationships would be an umbrella for all of them. And then you've got familial, and you've got platonic, and then you've got romantic, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are the types of relationships. And then interpersonal would encompass all of them. And so those can sometimes get frayed, and sometimes they get frayed and they break. And I hope that if you have gone through anything that has hurt recently, or even as far back as you can remember, I hope that you know that everything
Report. Fresh.
will be alright, or everything can be alright again. Because these things happen, and all that we can do is try to be the best people we can be, and to dust ourselves off and go on to meet more people that maybe we will appreciate more, and maybe that will appreciate us more. Or maybe it doesn't even have to do with whether or not you're appreciating someone or not, but perhaps you've been able to grow as a person and learn from past mistakes, and maybe you're a little bit better this time with being able to navigate the tricky waters of having other people in your life, because it can be tricky. I think that some people
Report. Success.
maybe have an easier go
Complete.
with it than others. But I know that, for me at least, there are times where I'm maybe not the best at it,
Catch.
or at the best at maybe dealing with my anxiety at times. And I'm working on being able to manage that better, so that no matter what happens,
Fresh.
whether it is good or whether it is bad, that I'll be able to, what's it called? Be able to handle things in a healthy manner, which sometimes I do, and other times I don't. And I suppose even beyond
Complete.
this talk about interpersonal relationships and
Fishing.
how sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, and that's okay. There can be a lot of things that stress us out in our lives, even regardless of that. Maybe work is really hard. Maybe you're feeling underappreciated, or you're feeling a little bit to be in the next couple years. I actually ran into this on Sunday. I got to see my friend, the one that told me about the flaming lips, and she asked me where I saw myself in 10 years, and that filled me with a lot of dread, and it still does a little bit, but she did say that it's okay to not know, and that's not really why she was asking about, whether or not you have a solid plan for your life. It was in regards to, I think it was in regards to remaining friends, which I think is important. And that reassurance that it's okay that I don't have my life completely figured out yet,
No response.
I think was really important. And I guess what I'm trying to say is if you find yourself feeling anxious and maybe feeling like you don't
Catch
know
confirmed.
where your life is headed, or maybe you're feeling like the good times. Oh no. I'm trying not to make myself really sad here.
Report. Fresh.
I wasn't intending to make myself upset, but and now I'm having trouble containing my laughter.
Report.
Maybe you're feeling like the good times don't last, is what I was trying to say. And I know that I can feel that sometimes as well. Like, life moves really, really fast, and it's hard to find anything to hold on to. Because, it's always the next day and the next day. And maybe you're working lots and you don't find enough time for yourself. But I guess what I'm trying to say
Report.
is that
Fresh.
the good times do come around. And I'm not entirely sure if we need to be open to them for them to find us. But I do think that being open to them helps. And just remember that anytime that you feel bad, or maybe you're feeling down in the dumps, that the next time the good times come around, they're going to be that much better. Because without those bad days, we wouldn't be able to have any good days. And it would all be very, very boring to not have a bit of variety in our day-to-day life. This is just a little speed bump. And so, what I'm sending out to you is beautiful, beautiful sunshine, and maybe even starshine. going to come and it's going to find you and tuck you into bed until you start feeling better. But I guess what I'm getting at is that I really do hope that if you are feeling stressed, you realize that there's a whole bunch of people that are all pulling for you to get through this. I'd really, really like for you to have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful life, and to take it one day at a time, and to try not to forget things by taking it all in and being present in this moment, and realizing that it's important to take care of yourself, and it's important to help take care of others. If you're in the headspace where you can, make sure
Commencing.
that first and foremost, you are looking after yourself. And I believe in you. And I know that all of that stress and all of that worry
No response.
in a couple of years isn't going to mean all that much. I think that it will help shape you and maybe help you grow and learn more about yourself and others. But when it comes to
Bite detected.
having a stressful day or a week, guaranteed in a couple years, you're not even going to remember it. And it's going to wash away. And I find, at least for me, I'm not sure if this is the same for others, but I find that for me, it's a lot easier to remember the good times than it is to remember the bad. And even when I am remembering the bad, when I look at it from a distance, it's no longer as scary as it once was. And so I guess I kind of went into a bit of a ramble,
Catch confirmed.
but either which way, I think that me and 9S here are done fishing for the day, and we need to find our way home. Let's see. It's gotta be this way. I'd like to thank you for spending some time with me and for coming fishing. I think that we caught a lot of really good fish, and maybe I'll take you on another fishing trip some other day. So, once again, thanks for joining me on my travels, and like and subscribe. if you enjoyed this video. I hope that it gave you some tingles, and I also hope that maybe it helped you sleep and make you nice and relaxed and help any of those worries wash off of you. I believe in you, and I'd like you to have a good night, or a good morning, or even just a good day, wherever you may be. Thanks again. It's time for me to go to sleep.